Hi there, I'm Lindsay Siegel-Slott. I help quiet teens become happy and successful adults. Now, if you're watching this video, you're not a quiet teenager. You are a mom or a dad or guardian of a quiet teenager that will not talk to you when they come home from school. So you would probably give your right arm if they would tell you like what they did in school or if they learned anything that day, who they talked to, or even just a simple hello or a hug. You would probably love that, but it's just not happening, and it probably won't happen, especially if your teenager is quiet. Now, what I mean by quiet, it doesn't mean they don't talk at all or they don't have any friends or they don't know how to talk. It's not like that. It just means your teenager is just more introverted than you are. So either you are an extrovert, you're very outgoing, or maybe you used to be more introverted, but as you grew older and you kind of wanted to assimilate better with the rest of the world in our culture, you became a little bit more outgoing as you got older, and you may have forgotten what it was like to be a true introvert. Now, introvert, I want to define this as meaning that you feel drained by too much outside stimulation. So a lot of noise, a lot of people around. If you go to a party, if you're an introvert and you go to a party and you don't know a lot of people, it's very, very stressful because you have to try to figure out who to talk to, and you really just don't feel comfortable making small talk with strangers. Whereas if you're more extroverted, that experience actually fulfills you and refreshes you and makes you happy. So introverts and extroverts are very different. But anyway, the point is that your teenager is most likely an introvert. So when your teen comes home from school, bear in mind that he or she has been at school all day, listening to teachers, listening to other kids. There's lots of noise and the hustle bustle in the hallway when you're going to change classes. You go from one classroom to the next one, and there's just tons of people, tons of noise. There's just constant stimulation. And then lunchtime, very often, there may not be a break there either. There may be a loud cafeteria, depending on the freedom at your child's high school. There may be just constant noise. And so when your teenager comes home from school, the absolute last thing they want is to talk to you or maybe anybody. And so try not to take that personally. You just need to understand that your teenager is introverted, and when they come home from school, they're feeling drained. They're feeling really, really drained, and they just don't feel like talking. And if you keep trying to make them talk, they might say something, but what I say is if you do that, if you keep nagging them to talk to you, you may win the battle, meaning that they may talk to you a little bit, but you're going to lose the war. So what I mean by war, and I hate to say it like that, but what I mean by war is that you're going to lose long term. Long term, your teen is going to grow into an adult, and they're going to remember that you were always nagging them, always trying to make them talk to them after school, when they really didn't feel like talking, and it was just obvious that they were exhausted, and you just weren't paying attention to how they were really feeling. You were just thinking about yourself, like, I want to know what you did today at school. And so as soon as your child becomes financially independent, they're going to move away, and they're not going to want to talk to you. So that's what I mean by losing the war. You may win the battle, but you're going to lose the war, and you don't want that. You don't want that. You want your teenager to grow up and be a happy, successful adult, and to want to talk to you. They're probably not going to call you every day, and maybe you don't want that anyway, but you certainly want your child to grow into an adult who wants to talk to you on holidays, maybe some weekends, occasionally call without being called first. You're not going to get that if you nag your teenager to talk to you as soon as they come home from school. They need time alone. They need time to refresh. If that means going to their room and closing the door and getting on their computer, so be it. Let them do it. If it means closing the door and reading a book, or watching TV alone, whatever it is, your teenager probably just wants to be left alone. And that's why, because high school is just very, very overstimulating. There's tons of noise around, tons of people. They probably have 5 or more teachers they need to talk to who are giving them homework and tests, and they're trying to please all of them. So the last thing they need is to come home and to just do more work, because really talking to you, to them, if they're introverted especially, it's doing more work. They're coming home and having to answer to you. And you don't want them to see you as more work, because in the long run, they're not going to want to talk to you. So that is why your teenager doesn't want to talk to you when they get home from school. So don't take it personally. Just accept it, and just accept it without judgment, and just let him or her be himself or herself. Let them go to their room and close the door. Give them their private time, because they need that to replenish all the energy they lost during the school day. Okay, thanks for watching.